Hi, everybody. Here we are. We're at Spitfire, and we've had a very eventful, busy week. So I'm just getting situated here. What have we been doing? Wow, it has been a crazy busy week. Um, I have been at Sunset this week. You probably or possibly would have seen that one. Hello there, Marks. Um, so we've been at Sunset Sound this week. We were tracking some drums with Blair Sinter, some bass with the great Sean Hurley. Hello, Toby, and hello, RJ. With the bass with the great Sean Hurley. So a wonderful rhythm section. And hello, Nevermind Productions. Hello, David. It was a lot of fun. We were in Studio One because in Studio Three, where I typically track, Slipknot were in. And then in Studio Two, Herbie Hancock was in. And of course, Vinnie Carluta was in there playing drums. So got to hang out with Vinnie and see how he was doing. As you know, I've worked with him a few times. Vinnie is an incredible drummer, one of the best. Hello there 3 times. So it's been a really fun, eventful week working with Conrad Sewell. Do you guys and girls know Conrad? Hey, Willem, yeah. Hello there in Kansas. Yeah, Vinny's amazing. Yes, Zappa, of course. So a wonderful week with Conrad Sewell. What else did we do? We did a Feedback Friday on Thursday morning. We have had a Hola, Vinny is a beast. Hello there, Dara in Ireland. Anyway, so it's been a really, really wonderfully busy week. And this morning we went over and we did an interview with a very, very, very famous and very amazing producer, engineer, and mixer. Hello, Paul in South Wales. Hello there in Minnesota, Patrick. What console, David? This is an SSL. I'm not sure which studio you're talking about, but we were at LAFX doing the interview this morning. And the guy we were interviewing is one of the most famous producers, engineers, and mixers in the world. And that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Oh, hi there, Michael. You're in the academy. Thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It's only going to get better and better, so I really appreciate it. Sorry to do the business thing, but can you like and share? I see there's 35 of you currently on. Thank you for joining so quickly in the first couple of minutes. Please like and share. Hello, Paul from Northern Ireland. I will do an interview with Vinny. I'll do one pretty soon. He's a pretty wonderful guy. So yes, please like and share. I really appreciate it. If you share, apparently it tells more people we're online and they get to watch it. It's the way that YouTube gets us to notify. Thank you, Toby. You're a total pro. I like that. So it's been a really crazy. This isn't in the academy. This is the interview. The interviews are always hosted. Everything we do is hosted in the academy, and some of it's also hosted on YouTube. Obviously, some of the stuff is exclusive academy stuff, and we're doing even more exclusive academy stuff for those of you that are already members. And as I keep harping on about, without sounding like a salesman, the great thing about the academy is we are building in new stuff which will launch in the next 2 or 3 months. And if you grandfather in at only $17 a month, it will go up in price. So if you're in cheap now, it will stay cheap. Anyway, whatever. End of the sales. Like and share. I'm done. All right. So it's been a really wonderful week. If you didn't get to watch the live stream, I did talk a little bit of the fan of World War II aircraft, Hawk Hurricane maybe, and also my studio or after it for Lancaster. That's great. So if you didn't get to watch it, it was a pretty fun drum session. The thing about Studio One is it's very famous for doing, of course, Stairway to Heaven and a lot of other really incredible albums, a lot of the Doors stuff, a lot of Stone stuff. It was a really incredibly yes, you will. If you join up for a full year, you get everything. You're going to get like 22 multi-tracks. If you join it, you get the whole of last year's and the first few months of this year's when you join up for a year. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so Studio One at Sunset's just an incredible sounding room. It really is. Very, very blessed to be able to work in those situations. And when I look at it and I think about, being a kid in England and getting that Queen album and discovering rock, you know, I I I, I keep marveling at it. That here I am, I live in Los Angeles, and I get to go to studios like Sunset Sound or United or any of these studios that have made these incredible albums and that these wonderful musicians have been in with this incredible equipment and just the, I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, the vibe, the sort of feeling of history that you get when you're in these rooms is just so beautiful. Yeah, you like my hair? Is it nice and stylish? Yeah, good. It's if you can feel free to ask me any musical questions. We just did an interview with Mark Needham, and we did it completely commando style. I think is a better way of saying it. And we didn't have any lights or anything, and we were sitting in front of two slate Ravens. And when the guys came to edit it, they couldn't get it any lighter. It was like completely overexposed from the Ravens. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I think half of the comments about the Mark Needham video were about the lighting. It's pretty funny. So, bearing in mind, Mark Needham is one of the most prolific, hardworking producers, engineers, and mixers out there. He's incredibly talented, incredibly hardworking. And what key is my haircut in? It's E flat major, not minor. This is a major haircut. So yeah, it seems that haircuts and lighting are. We have three themes. We have conversations about my hair, conversation about the video quality. Bearing in mind, I'm not a videographer. I'm just another guy like you. I'm just another person that does music and loves it and wants to interview people and bring them to all of us. That's it. That's my only purpose. Is like I love talking to these guys and girls in our industry because we get to bring them. AB versus XY for overheads. I have as a spaced pair. What did Eddie Kramer say? Spaced mics produces depth.
Distance.
Oh, distance produces depth. Yeah. So I am advice on small diaphragm microphones, please. I think there's a lot of really, really good mics out there in the small diaphragm. There's a huge selection. So you're at a good time now. Everyone who follows me knows I like the Lewitt 140s. They're really wonderful mics, and they're very inexpensive. So if you follow me, you know that. There's a lot of really wonderful mics. It's a great time to be making music and great time to have equipment. Somebody said they just woke up and saw Warren is live. Will gated reverb drum sound will make a strong comeback? I think, honestly, I love Al Schmidt. Yes, I've worked with him. He's fantastic. Honestly, there's a place for all of that. Gated reverb. I mean, because people are doing all kinds of production now, How about a little Yamaha jam? I might pick up a Yamaha. Can you do Lewitt 940 of yours on the female vocals? Yeah, I use it on the female vocals all the time. I love using it on girls' vocals. I'm actually picking up a Tanglewood. Oh, dear. John Bonham, is there anyone I've worked with that's come close to John Bonham? Well, I've worked with Vinnie Carluta, so, I don't really know what to say. I mean, Vinnie Carluta is the best drummer I've ever recorded. All of the great drummers I work with think that Vinnie Carluta is the best drummer. So, I haven't played for a few days because I've been tracking so much. I haven't had a guitar in my hand. Yesterday, I was doing recording vocals and comping them and not doing any guitar playing. The day before that, I was in building tracks. The day before that, I was tracking bass and drums at Sunset, all long days. So it's weird not having played guitar for about 3 days. So yes, I do like the Lewitts. I really do like the Lewitt 140s and 340s. The 140s are pretty inexpensive. You'd have to Google them, but they're quite cheap. As you know, I'm a big fan of the Roswell mics as well. I think the Mini K47. I know it's a large diaphragm. I think that could be a great mic to have in your arsenal. there are some really, really great microphones out there. You should watch the Roswell interview, the one I did with Matt McGlynn. Ah, hello there, drinking gin in Slovenia. So basically, I would say one day do an interview or documentary on women in music production. It'd be very nice to have that one day. Yes, I mean, I've interviewed quite a few women, and I'm continue to interview more as we go. I do like this guitar, this Tanglewood. The only problem is that the body cracked pretty soon after I got it. And I did reach out to the guy I got it from, but I never heard back. But somebody's talking about a good Queen reference there. So anyway, so it's been a very, very eventful week. I'm very, very blessed. I think that, you know, those of us that get to make a living doing music are incredibly fortunate. You know, oh, thank you about my guitar playing now, but I haven't played for like 3 or 4 days. I'm just gonna speed up. Look at that. Dakota said it's only 170 quid for the 140. Yeah, I use it on acoustic guitar every day. Use it on acoustic guitar. It gets used on overheads and hi-hats, although we've recently been using an SM7 actually on hi-hats. Here's a little gem I want to drop with everybody. Talking to Eddie Kramer, Eddie told me, so we're having this discussion about microphones, and somebody went in, yeah, speed is not always good, I'm warming up. Somebody went on a tear, I can't remember who it was, but somebody went on a tear saying that Shure microphones, and I'm not, here's a couple of funny things. So somebody thought, and 2 people have thought, that I got paid by Shure to do that cheap, the inexpensive versus expensive mic. It wasn't really a shootout, just a comparison. So you could, because the whole purpose of doing that inexpensive mic and inexpensive I/O versus really expensive German and Austrian mics and a beautiful console, the purpose of doing that was to say one simple thing. And that simple thing is, and I know most of you got it, was that yes, it was the room and the performances that made the difference. You know, it really is that. You know, the great song, the really well written song by the fantastic musician, recorded, you know, well in a nice room, is going to be so much more important. The song and the performer is far much more important than the gear. And so, yes, we did use Shure microphones. Do you know why we used them? Because the drum package, I think the mics were like $400 or something for a whole drum package. What could be better than saying $400 worth of equipment? Anyway, I had this troll on the last video say that, thank you, say that I must have been paid or I sold my soul. You know what? I'll do the same thing with Lyric microphones. I'll do the same thing with Samsung microphones. I'll do the same thing with Rode microphones. You know what? I am doing this to help people. And if I can say $400 worth of Shure mics, $500, $600 worth of Lyric mics, $400 worth of Samsung, $300, I don't care. If all I want you to get is this one very simple message, that the gear, high quality gear, does help, but it doesn't stop you from making great music. And why do I say this? You know, why do I say this? I say this because the song is the most important thing. And somebody here is saying, you know, you can't fake a bag microphone. Okay, so we did this thing where we talked about the Beatles with Jimi Hendrix. Oh, I love the Flickinger stuff. You know, so we were talking about, you know, the Beatles stuff, and Jerry Hammock and I and Jeff Emmerich was talking about how the AKG, that, I can't remember if it's the D90, what was the name of the microphone, or the 19? I'm blanking, sorry. The inexpensive AKG, somebody was debating me saying that it wasn't inexpensive and actually was a lot better than a 57 or 58. But Jeff Emmerich said that, glad you bought the book, Paul. Jeff Emmerich said that the only reason why he used that mic was because it was plugged in. And then he just started moving it around, and it was quick and easy, and it could take the high pressure levels. And the debate was that that everybody said that not everybody, that somebody said that a 57 and a 58 was an inferior mic to an AKG, and you couldn't record on it. It sounded terrible, blah, 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 which is kind of silly, as we know, because so many people use 57s. Anyway, so I'm sitting down with Eddie Kramer and, oh yeah, Mongo Jerry, and sitting down with Eddie Kramer, and he's talking about Woodstock. And he said the whole of Woodstock, the live recording, if you go and listen to the album, it's a pretty darn good sounding album. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that Matt Star video. Thanks, Ron. The whole, is everybody listening? We've got 92 people on the moment. If I invented a mic, I'd call it plugged in. The whole of the Woodstock recording, that's Jimi Hendrix, that's everybody you can think of that played. The whole album was recorded using only one type of microphone. The whole thing, the whole live show was recorded with one type of microphone. Does anybody want to say what that was? Is there anybody there that can guess what the one type of microphone that recorded the whole of the album Woodstock that Eddie did? It was an SM58. Yeah, it was all recorded with an SM50. It was a 58. So here I am, you know. Yeah, it was an SM58. So the point is like, you know, that's an amazing record. Why is it an amazing record? It's an obvious answer to that question. The reason why it's an amazing, thank you, Ron. Sure it was. The reason why it was an amazing record was because of the lineup. And that was it. Like if I go and do Wikipedia here quickly and we do Woodstock. Let's go and do Woodstock. Wiki it. Lum-de-dum-dum-dum. 1969. Woodstock. Let's see if they've actually got. Okay, so Richie Havens, Arlo Guthrie, Joan Baez, Country Joe, Santana, Incredible String Band, Canned Heat, Mountain, Grateful Dead, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Janis Joplin, Sly and the Family Stone, The Who, Jefferson Airplane, Joe Cocker, Country Joe and the Fish, 10 Years After, The Band, Johnny Winter, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Paul Blood-Filled Blues Band, Sha-La-La, and of course, Jimi Hendrix. So, we're talking some of the greatest bands of all time. And you listen to the Woodstock album, and it's an amazing album. And it was all recorded without the aid of Pro Tools and Auto-Tune and all this stuff. Not that that matters, but the point is like recorded as well as they possibly could using only one microphone. Not one microphone, one kind of microphone, and that is an SM58. So, which apparently, you know, I was debated on as being an awful sounding mic. But you see, the point is like, it's not about that. It's about the person using it and the performance that was captured. It was Eddie Kramer recording, and, you know, it was recorded. Yes, Mountain. Well, as Mountain are on the list of the lineup, so I believe they played, yeah. So anyway, I'm not here to debate. I'm not even here to criticize. I mean, like, you can have your opinion. Everybody can have their opinion about what the best gear is, of course. And that's kind of the point. You know, we can all debate about, you know, the U47 is the greatest microphone ever made. It probably is. You know, it probably is. It's definitely synonymous with the sound of so much incredible music. It's a really wonderful sounding mic. And so many people have made copies of that classic, you know, old Neumann, not the modern Neumann company, but the original Neumann company that made that. And, you know, it's one of the most copied mics in the history, if not the most copied mic ever. I don't know if that's true, but it's definitely in there. And nobody's going to dispute that that is an incredible piece of equipment. But when somebody like, you know, Eddie Kramer tells you that he's made albums using only an SM58, and it's one of the greatest records of all time, it's just a point. It's not about that stuff. So our job here is to help each other. Yeah, somebody's just saying it's not the guitarist, the guitarist. Isn't that the famous quote? Who was that? Who said that? Who said this? Do you remember? It's a very famous story in LA in studio circles. And I don't remember who said it. Was it like Barney Kessel? I don't remember. Maybe somebody can correct me, but it's a great. Was it Chet Atkins who said this? What I'm about to say? You know, I think it was, yeah, Chet Atkins when, you know, Chet does one of his kind of, some great kind of open string, incredible guitar playing. And whoever was in the studio, an artist or whatever, turns to Chet Atkins and says, wow, that guitar sounds amazing. And Chet Atkins takes it, puts it down on the stand like this, and looks at it and goes, how does it sound now? Now, obviously, Chet Atkins can get away with that. That is, oh, thank you, Marshall. That is kind of the, that's kind of the reality. It's like, I don't know who just said it. Somebody just said it's not the guitar, it's the guitarist. Yes. And it's not the microphone, it's the performer and the performance. So if Eddie Kramer can use an SM58 and make an amazing sounding record and only use SM58s, that's kind of a reality. So I think it's just really important. And I'm not advocating, this is the point. When I say these things and we talk about these, when I talk about these things, it's, of course, Chet said it with humility. I don't think Chet had an ego. I don't think any of this is about ego. That's where people twist it. It's like when you say something on YouTube and then somebody makes it, somebody makes it though you mean something else. Hey Jenna, hey Sir Egbert. It's like it's when people make it seem like you're saying something that you're not. I mean, when I talk about equipment, could Eddie Kramer use a $50 microphone? I'm sure he could. Oh, somebody's asking me about why I ended up here. Well, I used to watch TV. I used to buy books, buy records, everything. Just try to find out about music. So I always wanted to live in Laurel Canyon because Laurel Canyon for me was like the center of music in the 60s. Of the music that I loved, the Doors, and I loved Joni Mitchell. So that's the reason why I ended up here. That's why I work at Sunset Sound, because Sunset Sound made all the records that I loved. With New York, but if I'm in LA, I wanted to be at Sunset Sound. But anyway, to cut a long story short, getting back to the point, I think the really, really important thing that we have to remember, it's really, really important that when somebody says, an SM58 or a 57, an inexpensive piece of equipment, it doesn't mean that's all you need. It doesn't mean that's the best thing for the job. It doesn't mean it's the worst thing for the job. It doesn't mean anything other than this very simple piece of information, is that it's secondary to a great song and a great performer and performance. The artist performing that song is the most important part. Have you all heard the anthology series? If you haven't, go. And yeah, Zappa's old house is down the street from me. I drive past it every day. We just drove past it driving back from LAFX this morning. I'm sure you all, or if you haven't, you can do it now. Oh, thank you very much. Well, Jenny, you can learn and produce your own music. That's the whole point of doing Produce Like a Pro, is because we're just trying to break down the barriers and the misconceptions that a lot of forums give, that you have to use this expensive equipment. And then when guys debate me that a 57 or a 58 is a terrible microphone, that's the kind of world we're trying to destroy. No disrespect to that guy and his opinion, but it stops the beginner coming up and wanting to make great music, because this guitar is cracked. See that? It's got a big crack in it and it frets out. Okay, so it's kind of a crappy guitar. It's not a terrible, terrible guitar. It's a Tanglewood. It's okay. But is it going to stop me using it? No, I use it all the time because it's really a pop sounding guitar. It's a good sounding pop guitar. And I think the body cracking here kind of killed the sustain a little bit. It's right, it has character. No, I can't imagine actually using condenser mics at Woodstock. That's what was so funny about it, is they only had SM58s to use, but it makes perfect sense because you've got a 3-day festival and you need a microphone that is not going to get destroyed. And look, how many clubs, if you guys play live shows, how many times have you gone to a live club and there's an SM58 set up on a stand that the head is flattened, like squashed flat? Yeah, exactly. Robust says wrong. Yeah, in the rain, exactly. You need something that can take abuse. So number one is they needed a microphone that always worked, because that's a pretty important thing in a live show when you've got guys throwing around microphones. You know, the Who. I mean, the Who played, for goodness sake, you know. Yeah, somebody said that the 58 doesn't even have a defined shape. Anyway, so the point is the point is yeah, Who? The Who. The point is like having a really tough, robust microphone was the most important part of that could survive 3 days outside, like I was saying, in the rain and everything, because it doesn't matter if you wanted to put a U47 up. Well, lots of things would have been. First of all, the U47 would not survive a live show. Secondly, it's a condenser, and it's going to end up getting so much bleed from other stuff, you know. Somebody said they got hit in the face by an SM58. The point is it's going to take all of that abuse, and like I said, the condenser will just pick up far too much bleed. The thing about a cardioid dynamic is it's so much more focused. And I recently recorded a Cuban band, and there was so many bongos, you know, congas, you name it, all these different instruments. And it was in a small environment. They were playing live. And there was no way I could use condensers. As soon as I put a condenser up there, everything was bleeding into everything else. So I was like 57s and 58s on everything. So why would anyone use a ribbon mic? Well, I mean, we're not talking about a live situation. Ribbon mics have a wonderful characteristic. I've used ribbon mics to many benefits. One of the things I love about them is when you're in an exceptionally bright room and you need something to control that top end. You know, or somebody said, your face came off worse when hit by a 58. I'm sure it did. Anyway, getting back to my larger point, my larger point here is I'm not trying to say an SM57 or a 58 or any mic is any better or worse in any situation. And when Jeff Emmerich was saying that he used that inexpensive AKG, he wasn't saying that was the best mic for the job. He was saying that was the mic that was plugged in and it was ready to go. And creativity, like, you know, like somebody saying, I don't like their mid bump on the 58 and 57. Well, I love it on guitars and snare drums because it helps the guitar and snare drum cut through. And, you know, like I said, you know, Eddie Kramer used it entirely. One mic you can never live without. See, this is what, you know, last time we talked about mics and we did that Shaw thing, there was all these people that are going, 57 suck, you know. I mean, they literally were getting all upset about it and getting really angry and lots of capital letters and stuff like that. And it's just silly. A 57 has been used on so many recordings by so many wonderful people. Is it the worst microphone or the best microphone in the world? It's neither. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It is a good microphone that you can use to your advantage. And it's very robust, and you can, and people know how to get a good sound out of it. There you go. Frederick says it's like a little pickup. It does the work. Exactly. It's like, it's an interesting discussion. I definitely didn't start this discussion to talk about 57s. You're buying the Lewitt because you asked about a small diaphragm condenser, and you should buy that. I think if you buy a 58, that's probably something for live situations where you have a lot of bleed around stuff. Everybody's used. Thank you, JP. Oh, why did I pick Pro Tools? Because I've been using Pro Tools for the longest possible time. I am doing requests as much as I can. Yes, look, Ben's making a very, very important point. you know, the reason why, thank you, Isaac. The reason why so many people end up using 57s and 58s in the studio, as Ben is pointing out, is because they're singing live and they want to be able to feel like they're in the studio. Feel like they're doing a live show in the studio. So it's a big, big deal. You know, it's like, it's a huge deal. It's I heard that when Zach De La Rocha did the first Rage Against the Machine record, they had, you know, they did it in a rehearsal room, and he used a handheld because he'd never sung with a pair of headphones on in front of a speaker. So they put up a handheld. They had him use a handheld, and they used PA speakers, and then they flipped the phase and canceled it out. That is not unusual. People do that all the time. Necessity is the mother of invention. Again, it comes back to what was the main reason for it? The main reason for it is they wanted an amazing performance. So you get an amazing performance first. That's the bottom line. Hey, I'm going to do my shout out. 136 people. Thank you so far for being on. Would you all do like and share, please? Can you all like and share? I really appreciate it. If you would like and share. That way people will know we are online. It's the way that they get a notification. So please like and share. I really appreciate it. Like 20 of you done it. Please, 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 please. That would be absolutely amazing. Please like and share so people will know we're online. So, yeah, so ultimately, that's the bottom line, is that we choose microphones, we choose pieces of equipment for the job when we have lots and lots of options. It's really, really important. Thank you, Frederick, for sharing. Thank you for everybody who liked and shared. It's really important, you know, when you're in that situation, if you can, let's be a little bit easier about this. You know, it's really a big deal if you've got a lot of different pieces of equipment that you can find the most important thing for the job. So yeah, that's interesting that Seth Thurkins had died. Somebody just told me that. He can't have been very old. He was born in 81, so make him like 36 or something like that. That's very sad indeed. I wonder how that happened. It's very sad. Yeah, guitar is a beautiful instrument. Yeah, R.I.P. Seth Thurkins. You try to record an acoustic guitar for live use. Built-in pickup sounded terrible, so I tried something. I mean, a bad engineer will blame the mics. Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, you can get in a situation where you might have a bad microphone, like a microphone that's damaged, of course. Yes, Larry, that will happen at one stage. Yes, you can get into a bad situation like that. You know, that can happen. You know, where you might have a damaged microphone, but other than that, I think that you know, any decent microphone can do most jobs, and then it just comes down to what do you want. And if you have an arsenal, as I was trying to touch on a second before, if you're in a Sunset Sound or a United or an NRG, you know, out here, Abbey Road, the record plant, if you're in one of these incredible studios, Electric Lady, they're going to have every single type of microphone. And so you can use microphones as almost like another instrument. You can say to yourself, hey, I like that 3 to 5K presence lifts from 57, so I'm going to put that on my guitar because I want a bit more aggression. I want that on my snare, so you try that. Then you say, I want something a little bit, you know, better low end, more accurate, more detailed. Let's try a 47 because they have one. They got 67s, they got 87s, they got 414s, they got 251s, they got C12s. You know, when you're in that situation, you can pick a mic for the job. I look like a young Paul McCartney. Oh, well, that's very nice of you. Poor old Paul McCartney. Did you try drum level that Glenn recommended? I haven't tried that yet. I haven't needed to, but I will try it out just to see if I can recommend it. I have an SM7B, and I do use it. It's wonderful. I literally sit with acoustic mics and move around using headphones so you can hear and find the sweet spot. Yes. So, yes, some of the best places are 12th to 14th fret here. That's a pretty standard, especially for that kind of poppy, kind of like smiley face poppy guitar sound. And then bottom of the horn down there, which I've been doing for years. Freddie King. Freddie was all like, and I loved about Freddie King's playing is he could just keep going. Octava, small diaphragms are great on acoustics, yes. That's nice. And Eric says if it's a short not working, it's usually the cable. Yes. I'm sorry to hear that, Jenna. Okay, so do you think of mixes of the new Foo Fighters record? I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet. Is it better to record the studio in mono or stereo? To record in studio mono or stereo, for instance, mics, vocals, but I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I mean, I will record obviously stereo overheads, stereo rooms, bottom of the horn with a pencil condenser. Yeah, I mean, if you've got you're saying if there's a cutaway with a pencil condenser, yes, I do here. If you've got cutaways, you know, it can be difficult. You can always put it on the top here. This is my favorite place. You know, so your video with Blair on the drum mic opened my nose, new ways of recording drums. Thank you very much, Evan. What age did you start playing guitar, and did you have lessons? And if so, how long? I started playing guitar at 15. I started a little late compared to my friends. And I didn't have any lessons until I moved to Carlisle. But then I spent about a year on a semi-regular basis with a guy who I consider to be one of my biggest mentors, Mr. Ollie Alcock, who is from Carlisle. And he was more than that. He showed me, like, he does all these. He showed me all these kind of triplets and. That's all like Ollie stuff, and then he would do the. Would you mic a thin line acoustic or run it straight in? I mean, if it's acoustics, I would always mic. Trunks and theme tune, oh, I love it. To be honest, one of the things that Dave Jordan does that I absolutely love is he would plug in the acoustic, run it into an amp, mic the amp, use effects pedals, and then blend that. Hello there in Russia, and then blend that with the mic'd acoustic. So, you know, like we were talking about that before. If you listen to, you know, that Jane says there's some weird kind of acoustic stuff that he's doing undernight through the amp. Yeah, and I don't know if it's right in the beginning, but when the track starts coming in, he blends. Yeah, he blends in some of the amp tones. So that's a really, really cool thing that you can do. So I like, if you've got that option, you can mic and use the amp at the same time. Yeah, I'd love to record some of those pop guys. I mean, I tend to stick in some of the genres I know because most of the people that, you know, I interview are friends of mine, and that because we work together on different projects. And one of the big reasons for doing Produce Like a Pro was to be able to show you guys, you know, what is that? God, I can't remember how to play that. Isn't that crazy? See the, what was I saying? So I just wanted to show you what it's like to actually to be out here, like living in Los Angeles, living in America, and making music, like the actual reality of it. Because I know that most people who do these channels either aren't professionally working, or they are retired, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, so it's, for me, it's like I wanted to be able to do this so that I could show you what it's actually like, you know. Thank you ever so much, everybody that's watching here. Would you, I know I've asked already, but would you please like it and share? That would be fantastic. I have an acoustic I found in a guitar dumpster, a very small hole in the back and slightly crack in the top. Sounds great after I glue up the headstock. Yeah. Definitely do some more stuff with Glenn. He's wonderful. Is that 16 track behind me? No, it's a 24 track, 2-inch. Could you share some of your input on hi-hat, bleed, and snare mics? I don't usually bother me too much. I don't let that stuff bother me that much. I just let the bleed happen. You know, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Can you hear a difference on AKG 414 versions? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, the 414 is a good all-round microphone. It's really wonderful. You know, liked and shared. Thank you so much. What's the best way to record in mono? So look, basically, hello, Dominic. Best two mics to record drums if you only have two inputs. Having worked with Bulgarians, I've met many Bulgarians. Best two mics, I would get something like a large diaphragm condenser and put it in front of the kick, low down, and then put something over the top and then blend the two. And make sure that your drummer isn't playing too hard. But I'd have one in front of the kick and one over the top if that I only had two microphones. And I would experiment on the placement over the top so you picked up more snare, but that's how you do it. Do you use syncs plugins in your productions and what's your favorite? I have a tendency, even though I'm a Pro Tools user, to use Logic for sounds. I do have the iLouds and I'm trying them and then coming in. You know, you're very welcome, Henry. But as far as going back to that mono question, because I think that's really important. So the mono question is, yes, most things I record in mono. It's only room mics on drums and ambience. And if I've got an instrument in a room that I want to reproduce stereo. Otherwise, I'm recording in mono 99% of the time. So one more quick time. Can you like and share so that people know we're online? Hey, Warren from Ireland. I've said before, having a good preamp and a compressor audio first, and you're good to go. Yeah, I really believe that. That's very, very important. I think that it's all about getting a good signal coming in. I usually compress on the way in for most situations because it is fast-paced information. Because the reason why I do that is, look, for instance, I was talking to Eddie Kramer today, and one of the things that Eddie said that and it's the same thing that Chris Algy says, and the same thing I've been trying to say now for a couple of years of doing Produce Like a Pro, is that the best records that we love, and even records now that we love in the rock, that I'm not talking about metal, you know, gridded kind of sampled tracks, but like actual like rock kind of stuff that we all love, it goes in the front end sounding the way that we want it to sound. It used to be when I first started that when you gave your tracks to an external mixer, they didn't want the first digital, they didn't want any plugins on it because they didn't want the way you had affected the mix, because you were recording in a traditional way with big, fat, great tones, EQ'd and compressed in the way you wanted it to be. So they didn't want you, like Jason's saying, get it right at the source always. They didn't want you messing around with it. They just wanted to open it up, pull it up on the console, and mix it. Now I'm increasingly getting asked by mixers to send them my Pro Tools session because they believe that everybody now isn't really garbage in, garbage without. That's pretty true. They're starting to realize that most people are no longer producing in a traditional sense, which is the reason why this is called Produce Like a Pro. We talk about recording, and even inside of the academy is not necessarily all about mixing. We do a lot of mixing stuff, but we encourage people to produce. We encourage people to add stuff to my productions, change it, put in overdubs, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's a big deal. So it's really, really important to me that we do that kind of stuff and encourage it, because honestly, that's where the music is being made, going in the front end. And if you want to do some really effective, yes, I do mix. I just spent the last 2 weeks mixing Rick Springfield's new album. This week I've been working with Conrad Sewell, but last 2 weeks before that was Rick Springfield. So yes, I do mix. And I mix pretty much everything I record. I may or may not mix this Conrad Sewell album. Anyway, but so what I was saying is that, you know, one of the things that Eddie was talking about was the lack of commitment. And that's something that CLA was talking about, that he's just getting like tons of tracks with DIs and tons of different plugins and stuff, and very confused. And it's almost like we're in this world now where you've got like all of these YouTube channels and all of these academies, and they're all called like Mix with the so-and-so and so-and-so the mix, and mix this and mix that. Have you noticed that? It's all this encouraging you not to be able to produce or not helping you record. It's all just about like mix, 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 mix. It's to sort of fix it in the mix with the mix and the mix and the mix, the mix, the mix. Yeah, Rick's very talented. I was very, very impressed. So the point is like, it's really difficult to get great production these days. Everything sounds so muddled and crazy. And why do we think that is? Why do we always hark back and look at these older albums and say how amazingly they were produced? And somebody saying they worked with Eddie. Yes, he was really wonderful. So what reason why we love these records is because they committed to sounds and they committed to ideas. And when you build up like a drum sound that's very specific, and then you add like a really cool bass tone and some great guitars and a keyboard, the point is like you're creating a soundscape. You're creating something wonderful. When I work in a box, do you use keyboard and mouse only? I do only use keyboard and mouse only, but remember, I mix in a hybrid fashion through an SSL 4000. Oh, I don't mind if you make something sounding good, Juice. And I don't mind. I don't mind making something sounding good with plugins. I think it's great. See, this is the thing. I don't get confused here. I'm sorry if this is confusing. Yeah, Joe Bonamos is a great guitar player. I'm not coming down on EDM or hip hop or pop. I love all those genres. That's one of the biggest things for me is like, we can do all of these genres. We can do metal, we can do rock, we can do funk, we can do disco, we can do EDM, we can do R&B, we can do hip hop, we can do country, you name it. We can do every folk, we can do single mic. The point is, as a producer and an engineer and a mixer, but particularly a producer and an engineer, because you're the front line, it's not all about the mixer saving everything, you know. Like the world needs another mix academy, you know what I mean? There's enough mixing stuff based out there, but the problem is it's all teaching us how to do it arse backwards, and why we always end up complaining that everybody's work sounds exactly the same, because everybody's getting taught to boost and cut everything. It's all mix, 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 mix. None of it's based on recording something unique and wonderful. And I think that is a big, big deal. And it's something I want to talk about a lot. And it's the reason why this channel is called Produce Like a Pro. Somebody's saying go back to 4-track cassettes. That's the point, you see. I'm not that guy. I'm not a Luddite. I don't have my head buried in the sand. I love digital recording. I love analog recording. I love it all. I think all of it's absolutely fantastic. Somebody has a Zoom. Those are great. Everything is great. It's wonderful. It doesn't matter whether you have one of these, a 24-track 2-inch, or whether you have... Yes, I do. That's exactly what I do. I encourage people to overdub, to change my drums. Jeff McDonald, I don't know if he's watching. AJ Hazard, I don't know if he's watching. These are drummers that are in my academy, and they usually recut the drums on my productions. They're practicing their production skills by producing their own drums. They're practicing their guitar playing and guitar playing production by putting in. It's a production academy. There's enough mixing academies out there as there is, you know. We don't have to do any of that stuff whatsoever. You know, it's like, yep, and there's more drummers. That's what it's all about. It's all about being able to, you know, help each other grow as producers, engineers, and all of that good stuff. It's not about, you know, fixing in the mix. You can just go onto YouTube and learn how to mix anything these days. You know, there's so much wonderful information out there about mixing. Oh, thank you very much. But my point is like, we're all talking about production, and we do talk about mixing. Don't get me wrong. Every single week we do mix critiques, and we do mixing, and we do it. But it's both. It's all about like, let's get it in and make it great. Oh yeah, I mean, I've already done some arranger stuff. Did you guys watch, guys and girls, have you watched the Brent Fisher stuff? You should watch it. You should watch it. It's really, really good. We should get those charts. Will you remind me of that? From Brent Fisher. Maybe he'll give us some of those charts. I'm just having fun here playing. See, I haven't played all week because I've been working and I just haven't had a chance to sit down and play guitar. And I've been in different studios. I haven't been in mine. JP is mixing part of production. Yes, but it shouldn't be the only part of production. It shouldn't be just like, here's 196 tracks. Please make my song sound good. You choose which one of the 47 guitar parts on the left and the 47 guitar parts on the right work. That's not going to give you a defined piece of music that you're going to admire. Yeah, we'll get those charts. I don't know if I'm going to sell the SSL. I don't know. Thank you. I'm just warming up. We are going to start doing personal projects review. Kiri says don't sell the SSL. Remember, Lead Belly? I don't know. I'd have to listen, but I'm not going to AES. I'm actually going on vacation. Can you believe it? I'm going on vacation. Dun, dun, dun. It's going to be wonderful. Blind melon jelly. What gauge are they? I think they're like 12 to 53s, I think. They're not light. Favorite Beatles lick? Actually, it's an easy one. Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited to go on vacation, taking my family. As you know, I have, thank you very much, had a blast with the SSL, but your Mackie felt better. Well, there you go. If you can make great music on a Mackie, God bless you, because that's what it's all about. Yeah, I am going to enjoy my break. Oh, one more time. Can you please like and share? Would you like the video and share it? Because apparently if you like and share it, more people know that we're on it. You know what? I make great records using Mackies and ADATs. Honestly, honest to God, I make great records making with an ADATs and a Mackie. I also had a Soundtrax Topaz. Remember those? Anybody remember the Soundtrax Topaz? That was a great console. It was that little gray console, and it was fantastic. And I made a great record of that. Do you want to shut the door? What mic am I using down? I'm not using any mic. We're just talking through my little tiny camera. You had a Topaz as well. It was a great console. You know, great one. I'm grandpaing on you because you're born in 81. You're not that much younger than me. 81. If you said 91 or 2001, I'd say. You don't remember a Topaz? Yeah. Oh, you use an old TAC Scorpion. Well, I had a Topaz and I had a TAC Scorpion. I made How to Save a Life on a TAC Scorpion. I used to tell people it was an API because API wanted me to, but no, it was actually a TAC Scorpion. If you had a great place to visit in England, I'm traveling in a couple of days. Well, I don't live in England anymore, but obviously go to London. Hackney, yes. Favorite chord? Is there a favorite chord? Wow, I always think I go. I think because of Misty, I was playing E flat major 7. Yeah, major 7, E flat major 7. Power chord C9. C major 13, sharp 11. You're funny. I think Yeah, as far as a favorite chord, yeah, major sevenths, you know, but you never get to use major sevenths in rock and roll. Rarely, you know, maybe like a. Can you play your favorite 3-chord cheese song? I'm not sure what you mean, but just like generic. Error 9. So like an F major 7 to a C. Can't get much prettier than that. Anyway, thoughts on Fender Juice Blue, your tweed amp? I've used that, and it's really fantastic. Can I get the power cable? It's in there somewhere for that. What I need is a short power cable for my phone, and also one for here, for the computer. Yeah, that was Trees, a little bit of Trees. That's all I can remember from Rush Trees. When I was a kid, I used to know that so well, because it was just so great. Such a wonderful, wonderful, you know, Parallel Lines is just an amazing album. 2112, I mean, Rush are just such a great band. And, you know, complicated in arrangements. Hi, Matthew. Massive thanks. You're very welcome. Great. But the wonderful thing, just going to put some power in there so we don't die in a second. Yeah, the thing about Rush is that they're a wonderful band, great musicians. Very simplistic. Oh, you listen to 2112. Hey, Stan. Think of a 3-chord cheese, I think. Poison. Oh, 80s metal meant no offense. No, I just didn't know what you mean. I mean, to me, you know, some of the best songs. Ah. Yeah. Basically, it's just A. So, I mean, there you go. Favorite 3 chords. You know what I mean? Yeah, Phil Kiggy's a great player. Yeah, so unrelated to the question, current topic was the efficacy of pre-recording single acoustic drums on one shots in order to replace them. Don't worry, I'm late, but you're here. Hey, what is it? It's like, I've worked with tons of punk rock bands. Johnny's the first song I ever really performed live, and yeah, if I can remember it myself. I do that. I do that when I'm trying to replace the snare because I might want to put its own snare against it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a good idea to take a single snare hit and add it. I do that quite often. Okay, dumb question, but how do you program the effective interface channels to their respective track in the box? I have a Scarlett with an Octa Pre. I'm not quite sure what you mean. When you say program, you mean just like, how do you manage the levels of the hit? Velocity. I mean, that's where, if you can. It's got to be interesting. Top 20 albums. Number 1. Would you want to know my top 20? My top. Well, obviously, Night at the Opera is right up there. I love Plastic Ono Band by John Lennon. I also love Double Fantasy by John Lennon. Pink Floyd, The Wall. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. Axis Boulder's Love, Jimi Hendrix. I'm just trying to think of albums that just changed my life when the first time I heard them. The Pretenders' first record. Songs of the Key of Life. Yeah, I got to Steely Dan, but I got to Steely Dan at 15 or 14. No, it was like 14. Maybe it was 13. But you see, Queen, I got to at 9. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, yeah, Kind of Blue, Queen. It's like, Sir Egbert Fartalot. Yeah, solid there. Yeah. Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's fine. I just don't know any of the names of any of his records. Thank you ever so much in Spain. Eddie is right in there. To me, it's going to be like in this order, though. It's going to be Beck, Brian May, then Eddie. Holdsworth actually is probably before Eddie because, like, Holdsworth, as you said, got a lot from him. Al Di Meola for Right Hand. Chet Atkins for Everything. You know. So, Page, yeah, Jimmy Page is right in there. Yeah. Lap of the Gods by Queen, epic chorus. Yeah, there's so much great stuff. Peter Buck, no, he's great. He was great. I worked with him. Clapton's great. There is actually a Warren record coming at some point. But I'm also a huge Robert Fripp fan. I just said Robert Fripp fan. I'm a huge Robert Fripp fan. Absolutely love the way Fripp plays. For me, like the ultimate guitar player would like Beck's feel. Just that, you know. Yeah, Fripp fan. Yeah, the guitar bottles up there. So yeah, so like Robert Fripp for just like the twistedness, the weirdness, high piss off, and then high Petrucci. Drogomir. Just got into Pro Tools. How do you track the different microphones recording drums when I record one mic out of 5 I'm using? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Oh yeah, Johnny Marr is amazing. I got to see Johnny Marr. I only hear I record 1 out of 5 I'm using. I'm not quite sure the question. Sorry, Caesar. The Crimson are absolutely amazing. I saw them with 2 drums. I realized there were 3. Thank you ever so much. Yeah, Frippatronics. I saw Robert Fripp with David Sylvian. Who would mix it? I don't know. Maybe I put it out to all you guys. So everybody in the academy, you can decide. We can decide who would mix it. But anyway, to cut a long story short, yeah, Robert Fripp for the Frippatronics, the weirdness. Jeff Beck for the feel. Brian May for melody. Keith Richards for riff. You know. You remember, Paul, you remember Fripp and Sylvia? Larry Cohn, yeah, you know. Yeah. It's really hard to play up here. Yeah, you know. Anyway, Adrian Ballew's amazing. There's so many amazing guitar players. What's my favorite Bob Horn should mix it? I don't know if Bob Horn would mix my kind of like more rock one. Oh yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Ron. You enjoyed Matt McQueen's video inside the academy. Yeah, we're gonna start putting up a lot more video content like that. You know, because the whole idea of having the academy is to have like this extra stuff that's on top of it. Yeah, Walter Becker was amazing. I think anybody that played with them at that period was a anybody who played with them at that period was absolutely phenomenal player, and I think it's some of the most important stuff that was attributed in that sort of era. And if you watch that interview we did with Lenise Bent, she talked about Asia and she talked about that whole recording. I think it's really fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. We have lots more to do. Hope you're all doing marvelously well. Skunk Baxter is incredible. He's one of the greats. So please like and share and let everybody know it's on there. And have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Okay, bye-bye.